it's the incredible discrepancy we have between much of like the fair trade movement, which I feel is a lot of it is upper middle class luxury, the ability to assuage our own personal guilt and things like that. But that's not why I would promote it, because I think it's important to take positions about these things. In terms of disenfranchised communities, underprivileged communities, you know, the disparity, which I was highlighting in that picture of starving kids with these completely overweight kids. I mean, one of the problems that we have in this country is that processed food is incredibly cheap to buy. And the reason that, see, all processed food came out of war. The Americans in World War II learned, I mean, margarine came from Napoleon. They needed butter for these troops. So we tend to forget that processed food is actually a direct result of war, because they needed to feed these armies as they were moving. And so in World War II, they learned how to do this stuff to a degree scientifically that they'd never achieved before. And they could keep long life, shelf life. And they realized, you know, because this military-industrial complex, the same people that are supplying that during wartime are the people that are selling, you know, the food during peacetime. They realize that this is a great way. We don't have to worry about perishables, because
nothing will perish.
They lose a lot of money.
Except for
because
us.
When you take, you know, it's amazing how many, the reason it's so expensive at Whole Foods is because they lose a lot of that food. And this is the problem, and farmers know this. So one of the really important movements is urban homesteading, where people are beginning to put gardens on their rooftops. African American communities in Detroit are beginning to do this, and it's a really interesting movement where they're bringing fresh food to disenfranchised communities, and some of the schools are doing it. This is really important. So I think Louisville, it would be really useful to bring some of these people in to show them how to do it. We can grow our own food, and it actually is realistic. People can have gardens. In World War II, they had what were called victory gardens, where unlike these recent wars where they encourage you to go out and spend, they used to encourage you actually to save and recycle. World War II was a great era of recycling. People were recycling everything. And, you know, if you go to third world countries, people wear sandals made out of used tires because it's a really good heel, a sole for the shoe. And so these are the things where we need to get creative in our communities, and not, you know, so many of our communities in the inner cities, they can go and it's easier to get liquor than it is to get food. And it's much easier to get, you can't get vegetable, a lot of these inner city stores. It's all processed food. They get corn out of the can. And so that movement, I think, is a really important movement that's starting to take place in certain... Yeah.
To expand that.
And children love to do it. They love to plant. You can get the kids involved in it. They get connected to the earth. You know, you mentioned earlier, we're called Benu Adam, you know, in the Jewish and the Muslim tradition. And Adam is Adama, you know, or Udma in Arabic is the topsoil. And in our tradition, the reason he was called Adam, and really it's the first Adam had the male, female, and then it splits into the two of Adam and Eve. So the first Adam, the first creation was the human being, you know, which was, but the reason it's called topsoil is because we're told that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that God took white soil, black soil, brown soil, all the different colors of the topsoil in the world, and put them into Adam so that all these colors would be reflected in his creation from all the soils of the earth.
We have the same story.